everybody, welcome back to Waiting Moose. My name is Erin, and today I'm going to be talking about some outdoors mysteries. Now, didn't really know how to classify these because outdoors mysteries doesn't do it. That's all I gotta say. Outdoors mysteries does not. So they're books where setting takes a major role in the books. Two of the books are set in Wyoming. So you know that when you hear Wyoming, like that's more of a Western setting, right? But they're mysteries and they're not really Westerns. We don't have any cowboys. We do have some Indians. No cowboys. And I'm just doing a quick check here because I need to do my shout out and I want to get the name correct for my shout out. And that is because she and I actually read some of the same books, enjoy some of the same books, and so some of them are on this list. I want to shout out this person, this other booktuber, because she's actually somebody who reads some of the same books as me, and she is like the only person I found on BookTube that's reading the Longmire series. So that I know of. I hope. If not, then I'm going to offend someone when I say this in a second. Liz Schubert. She's fantastic, actually. She participated in March Mystery Madness, which is how I found her and her love of Walt. And yeah, so definitely go check her show, her channel out. She reads, I haven't seen her read much for YA, if any, so she reads a lot of adult fiction and things, mysteries. She participated in March Mystery Madness, like I said, so she's kind of in that same vein. And yeah, she's very great. She's fun to talk to. I've been chatting with her in comments back and forth, so really enjoying that. So I'll start with that series. I'll start with that series, and that is the Walt Longmire series by Craig Johnson. Now, this book is set in Wyoming. Walt is the sheriff of Absaroka County in Wyoming, and it borders Montana, so that gives you an idea of where it is geographically, and the outdoors play a huge role in these books. His best friend is a Cheyenne Indian named Henry Standing Bear, and he plays a large part in most of the books, as does his deputy Victoria Moretti, and Ruby, who answers the phones for them, and many, many other characters that are through all the books. This one is book 11. This is book something in the series. It says book 11, but I think it's actually book 10. And I'm really digging it. And it is, I first started calling these a Western, right? Because he's a sheriff in the West. And you look at this front cover and you've got the skull, the cow skull, and he's carrying a rifle or a shotgun, you know. So it makes it seem very Western-y. And they are, but they're not. They're very modern because it is set in the modern times. And I love this series. I would highly recommend it. And it's a police novel, so it's sort of a police procedural at the same time, but not really. You guys, this is one of my favorite series, and I'm so glad that I'm almost caught up on it, and I'm so excited that I'm almost caught up on it. So staying in the same vein as that, I've got Savage Run by C.J. Box. Now, in this one, this is where we get into more of the outdoors, jobs and stuff like that. We have Joe Pickett. I knew that. We have Joe Pickett, who is a game warden in Wyoming, and yeah, it's very much set in the outdoors, with that Western feel to it, but not like Louis L'Amour Western or Zane Grey Western, but very much an outdoorsy feel. If you like that kind of book, if you like the outdoors, you like reading about nature and mysteries, murder, mayhem, these might be some books for you, right? And I find that the characters in these are very interesting because I live in a city, right? I live, like many of you do, I live in a city or, you know, in a small town close to a city, and I used to spend a lot more time in nature, and I used to live in a small town nowhere near a city, and it's a different lifestyle. So there's a part of me that still loves reading those books and getting back to that part of me. It's like an escape for me. And it also makes me question how I ended up where I am, but that's a whole different story. Sticking with the Forest Ranger, this one's actually a Parks Ranger. So the last guy was a game warden. Now we have Nevada Bars Anna Pigeon series, which is based around Anna Pigeon, who is a national park ranger in the U.S. Now, in Firestorm, she's in California for the forest fires. In the first book in the series, she's in Texas. Second book in the series, she was on an island in Lake Michigan, I think. She was, no, Lake Superior, because it was a Superior death. So she moves around, or she has been moving around in the books, and this one's called Deep South, so I assume that in this one she's going to be in Mississippi. There you go. So it's interesting because she's a forest ranger. You get that outdoorsy stuff, but it's written by an ex-forest ranger. So she knows the job, she knows kind of the situations they encounter, and she also takes you around the United States and shows you some incredible scenery and incredible situations. And it's fascinating. I think the mysteries are interesting and Anna's great, but I kind of love seeing everything going on in these books in the great outdoors. Next up, I have one that I haven't read yet. Now, the reason I'm talking about this one is because I don't know if it's any good. I really don't. But I picked it up on Book Outlet's sale, Boxing Day sale, and it's called The Wild Inside by Christine Carbo. Now, this book is set in Glacier National Park, which is not that far from me, and it starts out with a grizzly bear attack, which is rather similar to another book that I'm going to talk about in a second, and then he is now, the son of the guy that was attacked, is now a special agent for the Department of the Interior, and he gets called back to the scene of that, to Glacial Park, to investigate a crime that mirrors the horror of that night. So, yeah, except this time the victim was tied to a tree, so it's obviously murder. So yeah, this actually sounds like another interesting outdoorsy themed mystery, and look at the bear. I love bears. Okay. I haven't read it yet, though. I picked it up recently, and I'm hoping to get to it soon. I really should have done that in March Mystery Madness, but just, there's so many books out there, and so many great sounding books, that it's hard to pick. And it's really hard to talk about these ones as any kind of category, because the place that they take place in, like the actual setting, is such a big part of the books. And as part of that, I'm going to talk about Dana Stabenow's Kate Shugak series. Now, Kate Shugak is an Aleut Native or Indian living in Alaska, and she is basically a private investigator. She lives on oil money, and I think it was a legal settlement that she won, but I'm not sure. But she's a private investigator, and she spends a lot of time in the outdoors, and she spends a lot of time with the native people. So it's a fascinating series, and this one has a large number of books in it. Sorry, wrong book. And this one is Bad Blood, same series. Love the pictures on the front. Like, the covers are just fantastic. And this one is not next in the series. Breakup Killing Ground is next in the series for me. So this one's quite a bit away from where I am now in the series, but they're just so good. She's an excellent character. Her grandmother is a fantastic character, and I have never regretted reading these. Kate Shugak series by Dana Stabenow, which has its own little spin-off. And that is the Liam Campbell series, also by the same author. And Liam is a friend of Kate's, and I believe there's some crossover in these series at some point. Some of the books feature both characters, and I have not started this one yet. Fire and Ice is the first in the series, and I need to get to that. There are definitely fewer books in the Liam Campbell series than there are in the Kate Shugak series, but there you have it. And another book that falls into this sort of loosely is Iron Lake. It's a series by William Kent Kruger. And basically, Cork O'Connor is part Irish and part Anishinaabe Indian. And he's the sheriff of or former sheriff of Aurora, Minnesota. And so this is, again, that sort of outdoorsy. I feel like I haven't read this series yet. I want to. It's been on my list for forever, and I finally picked this up in the Boxing Day sale. So soon, along with all the other books I want to read. But this one is, actually bought this one twice in the same sale because I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, so based on the cover, based on what it says about the book, I feel like this is going to have that sense of place that overwhelms the story and what the story is, right? Where it's almost a character in the book. And it's very important to who the people are and the entire story. That is the final one of my chat about outdoorsy / western / books set in that part of the world where the outdoors is a large part of the situation. That's a really obscure group of books. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't even know what I'm going to give it for a title yet. Have you read any of these? Because are you even interested in books set in the great outdoors, outside of the city, small town mystery? Like, or is it just something that's never appealed to you? I'm really curious. It's something I've only gotten into in the last couple of years. You know, I didn't even know that there was this number of books written in this kind of, like, usually when you get crime, it's like cozy crime set in a small town, but still it's based around like little stores and people that are, you know, ex-city dwellers, and you don't get that small, you know, and then when you get other crime like Ian Rankin, well, that's Edinburgh, right? You got this big city cop, and or the hard-boiled PI who's living in the city, and you don't get a lot of this crime outside of the city. And just watching what's going on in the world right now, you know, I mean, we're having a lot of issues about property rights around where I live, and people trespassing and committing crimes on these properties, you know, and the property owners defending themselves and their property. So, you know, it just, a lot of it strikes me very true. It's very close to home at this time. So yeah, that's where I sit. That's kind of where I am on my World of Reading tour for right now. But that's, yeah, anyway, that's outdoorsy mysteries. Yeah, so I will be talking to you soon. How do you like this series of videos? Like, are you guys getting some ideas of books you want to read? Is this any kind of value to you? Is, like, knowing about some of the genres, knowing some of the books in the genres? Tell me, like, what do you think? I'd love to hear from you. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.